Well, no, I had Strip City and I had Jazz City at the same time.
Yeah.
And Jazz City was playing all of the Eastern bands and things. They played the Modern Jazz Quartet, we played Art Tatum, we played Billie Holiday, Miles, Anita, Buddy DeFranco. My favorite jazz group that I ever heard, I played at Jazz City, and that was Miles Davis. Miles Davis and the group was Miles, John Coltrane, Red Garland, Paul Chambers, and Philly Joe Jones. And that was the greatest jazz group I ever heard. They were wonderful. And I got along great with Miles. It's funny, everybody that they told me was tough to get along with wound up being good friends. Like Billie Holiday. I was warned about Billie Holiday before I bought her to play Jazz City. And she wound up being as nice a person as I ever met in my life. She's the godmother of my oldest son. And she was just a wonderful lady. At one time, when I was an agent, which I only was for a year, I had represented on the West Coast at the same time Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, and Dinah Washington. That was all at one time. And I used to have to go to see them every night when they were working in LA, where I booked them.
Wow.
And I booked Sarah and Ella worked San Francisco. I went to San Francisco with them. And Sarah worked Ciro's. And Ella worked, I guess, the Long Bar Showboat, which was Fillmore Street. And they both did very well. Dinah worked the Long Bar Showboat. And the owner of the Long Bar Showboat was furious because Dinah had sung with Lionel Hampton's band at one point. And Lionel Hampton's band came to town and was playing the theater. So she went on her break to the theater to see Hampton's band, and she invited him back to see her show at the Long Bar Showboat, and she bought bottles of booze at the liquor store to serve the Hampton band instead of buying the guy's booze in his nightclub. So he was furious. He called me in my office the next day to complain that she bought bottles of booze into his place to serve her friends. And then he got furious with Ella because Ella wouldn't stay at his hotel. She stayed at the Fairmont. So he always had problems. And I stayed in that business till 1960. I did 10 years of nightclubs. When I had first Strip City, then I had a place called the Trade Winds for a short period. Then I had Jazz City. Then I had the Crescendo, and with Gene Norman. And then my last club was the Avant-Garde. And then I was out of the nightclub business. I went broke in the last nightclub after 10 years of nightclubs. That's how they bought me in Vegas. They figured if I could go broke on my own, I must know something. So they hired me at the Trop. Eventually, I was a personal manager for a year before I went to the Trop. And I managed a lot of jazz groups and lounge groups and people.
Yeah.